Welcome back to Scene Busters Podcast. Got a good show for y'all today.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Confession.
yeah.
I've been drinking whiskey. I'm here to party. Mavs win, baby. Mavs win. Drinking some Balcones whiskey. I'm Justin Prater here in Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm Gordon Lewis out here in Lubbock, Texas. I haven't
Woo,
been
Lubbock,
drinking.
Texas. Let's go,
Maybe I
Lubbock.
need to start. Yeah, well,
But you
I don't
start
know
drinking now because in just a few hours, they're going to announce that Chris Beard's going to UT.
Okay, so I kind of talked to you about this a little before the show, and I want to jump
now.
into this. So, really quickly, I objectively realized that if Chris Beard leaves, it is going to be largely an emotional decision, I think, for him, because I understand that the pull and the allure of coaching at your alma mater is significant. It cannot be understated, right? And we see coaches do this all the time. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury came back to Lubbock, and it was like everybody was pumped. I mean, he didn't have a great tenure at Lubbock, but everybody was pumped. But here's the thing. Chris Beard would be walking into a situation with a team that is not built by him. And it should be noted, Texas Tech has had some of their highest recruits under Chris Beard, but also they've had a lot of guys leave the program largely because they don't fit in with Chris Beard's style of basketball, which is defense first, offense like seventh. They're very tough, very defensive minded. He coaches a certain type of basketball, and it has endeared him to Lubbock. But it requires players to play a certain way. And so that would be a problem for him. The other thing is he's built a situation here in Lubbock where the fans love him. I mean, our when full capacity is going on, Tech packs him in at the basketball games.
Okay.
UT doesn't. UT is
when they get Chris Beard, they will.
Maybe.
Yeah, when they're going to Final Fours and Elite Eights, they'll be packing it up, baby.
Well, I mean, then that's the deal: is how much time are they willing to give the guy to get to that point?
Who, Chris Beard?
Yeah,
they give him 5 years.
Well, because you say that, but I mean, you look at he came to Tech and it was like he started doing well pretty quickly, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!" But there were no expectations for him. We just wanted him to win some games for us to be competitive, and he was like, "Okay, I got you." But I don't want to just be competitive. I want that ring. And almost so he chased the ring. He's come close. I mean, he made it to the national championship game. So like I said, I think you're leaving a situation you've built that you've almost taken all the way. You've developed into a really good opportunity to basically go build a new program at a school that is going to have incredibly high expectations.
Yeah, we get it. You're sad he's going to leave. We get it.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he left, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have the same success in Austin that he had in Lubbock if he leaves.
Wow.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if he does not have the same success. Yeah.
I think he'll beat y'all's ass.
Maybe. I mean, it's very possible. Look, he is a good coach. I'm not taking anything away from him. But also, if you look at Shaka Smart when he was coaching at VCU,
well, he changed his philosophy coming to Texas, though.
He
thought he had a coach different in the Big 12, which he shouldn't have done that.
But that's the other thing is
he's riding that horse.
Is Chris Beard going to have the same support from the alumni and from everybody else in the buildings, in those athletic buildings?
I think Shaka got plenty of support, and they gave him plenty of time, and it just didn't work out.
He had plenty of time. I'm just saying
Chris Beard will work out.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyways,
the expectations for him would be exponentially higher than they ever were for Shaka Smart, though.
Yeah, he's expected to win a ring if he takes that job.
Shaka never even saw the round of 32, and Chris Beard
would be expected to win a ring within 5 years if he takes that job.
I would say 3.
Or I would say ring Final Four within 4 or 5 years.
He'd be expected. No, because he's been known. He has made his name building almost brand new teams year in and year out. If you look at the team that went to the national championship game, how many of those guys still play for Tech? How many of those big name guys still play for Tech? None. Like they're gone. That's just how the That's how his team operates. He gets a lot of grad transfers. He gets a lot of guys that come in for 1 and 2 years, and he does well in that setup. But because of that, you create these expectations that, and if you are UT, I would say, hey, listen, you have made this name for yourself as a guy who takes random guys, puts them together, and goes and wins a lot of basketball games. We expect you to do it here.
Yeah,
That's why I said it's there's a lot of pressure there.
He's trying to get kids to go to the damn panhandle of Texas. Imagine when he's going to recruit them and sitting down with mama that, hey, man, you can come to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
not hating on Lubbock at all, but to a kid from Chicago or New Jersey, and you tell him, hey, I want you to come out of this place, Lubbock, Texas, in the panhandle. They don't understand it like us Texans do. They look at that place and go, that place is in the middle of nowhere in the desert or the canyons, whatever you want to call it.
Cap Rock, South.
There you go. Llano Estagato, Esta mother effa.
Estacado.
You know what I'm talking about. Give me some more whiskey. Speaking of whiskey, my whiskey glass, if you guys can see, I got 4 of these boogers at the liquor store for $1 a piece. Let me check out them specials.
Did they know you robbed them, or?
I walked them up. I walked 4 of them up. I said, these, because I looked at the sign and it was handwritten $1. And I was like, they can't be right. I was like, these are nice glasses. It's a Jack Daniels glass. It's got a Mavs logo, you know? And I'm like, they're $1 each. I grabbed 4 of them like this. I turned them upside down. I said, are these $1? And they said, yes, sir. I said, all right, then.
But by God, I guess I'm.
Inside this Mavs glass is some nice Balcones lineage. Single malt Texas whiskey.
Hey, bud, by the way.
Happy fire shooter.
Huh? Happy opening day. Happy opening day.
Happy opening day.
We made it. We made it.
It. Baseball's back. And Texas, we will have a stadium full of people.
Let's just hope that they don't get disappointed.
Yes, that would be terrible. But we will have people in there nut to butt eating nachos and drinking cold beer and
spending $75 at the concession stand.
We're gonna make it happen, baby.
Man, I am
no vaccine passports either.
I do
to get in the game.
Can we quit calling them passports, by the way? Like, I know that
where'd that come from?
I don't know. I don't like it though, because everybody's complaining about it, but shot records have been around for decades.
Like are they talking about a vaccine card?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what the difference between that. Yeah, I don't know what the difference between a shot record, a vaccine card, or anything like that, and a vaccine passport. I'm I don't understand that. I don't. Anyways, no.
But I do think what people were getting weirded out about is like, are they saying that? I don't know why they're calling it a passport either, but I think what was creeping people out is like, are you saying that in order for me to travel somewhere or go in somewhere, I'm gonna have to provide proof of a vaccination? And that's probably what was scaring some people. But anyways, we'll stick to sports on this episode.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the Mavericks, because you know what, Gordon? Guess what?
They won.
Mavericks won. Well, they didn't win again. Technically,
quick thing about baseball. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to a game this year, and I need you to tell me how much beer is, because one of the things about the ballpark that I loved was beers were only like $8. I think they were $8.50.
No, that's with you tipping. I think
they were only.
I think they're $6.50, and then you probably
they were $8. No, they were $8. They were, because I gave them a
false.
10. You could get them for $6.50, but like if you got the guys walking around,
those were anyways
$8.50.
I think they were.
But I'm curious how much.
I think they were $7.50, and I would give them 8, and like they'd keep the 50 cents. I bet keep it. But anyways, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah, but they're way more. I mean, we've been spoiled in Texas because of how cheap the prices of beer and the cost of going to Rangers games is compared to like the Dodgers and stuff like that. But I am curious with the new stadium, how much is beer going to be? That to me, that's always like the point is like, how much do I have to pay to have a couple beers and a hot dog?
I'll tell you what, I will have a full Texas Rangers stadium report.
I've been to the stadium.
Listen. You haven't ate concessions?
No, I have not.
Or had beer?
I have not.
Or smelled the fake grass in the air?
No, I did smell that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
I will have a
Yep.
full Rangers concessions report by give me till May 1st.
I was gonna say I talked to another friend of mine who's not going to opening day because he said tickets were like $90, but he's going
For
like
what?
he's
Upper
going to
deck?
see is something. Yeah, for like upper deck or something. But
Oh,
he's
okay.
going to see the Padres because he could get like tickets for as cheap as like $8.
To the
Like,
Padres?
yeah.
That's gonna be gangbusters this year, bud.
Yeah, that would be a series to go see. All right, so the Mavs.
Oh,
Uh
the Mavs.
man,
Okay, so the Mavs have been sitting Luca and KP. They're on this thing like Donnie Nelson was talking about. They really don't care where their playoff seating falls
as long as they make the
as long as
playoffs.
they make the playoffs. But they care more about having Luca and KP healthy together at the same time in the playoffs because apparently, I believe this stat is accurate as of now that they're like 15-5 when the two play together. When KP and Luca are on the court together in the same game, they're like 15-5. So they feel pretty confident about that. They dropped a game to the Pacers, and who was the other team they played? It was some I think I can't remember. It's two teams they should have beat. And they were sitting Luca and KP, and they dropped some games they really shouldn't have lost. But they come back. I guess they wanted to play Boston tough, and they set them against the Pacers. So they came back and went to Boston and won 113 to 108.
So they lost to the Pacers and then they lost to the Pelicans.
Yeah, there you go.
And then they came back Monday and beat the Thunder by
Yeah, there you go.
21. And then tonight they won by 5.
Correct. There you go. Okay. One thing of note is you look at
night, I guess.
if you look at the box. Well, if you watch the game, the Mavericks were up by 20.
Yeah.
Throughout most of the third quarter, and then towards like the end of the third quarter, Boston starts making little runs, and then in the fourth quarter, the Mavs didn't play that good, especially earlier on in the fourth quarter, but they ended up being able to pull it out. Luka hit some very deep threes, nasty stuff, step back threes, people in his face, like in between the
Luka
3-point
gonna
line.
Luka.
Yeah, he was on full Luka. But the interesting thing about it is that while he did have 34, he had 36 points in 34 minutes and 11 of 15 from the field, 7 of 11 from three. But he had 8 turnovers, and he came up as a -3 on the game. So he did his thing, and they won. But the team really didn't play good in the fourth quarter. They got outscored 35 to 23 in the fourth, and they almost coughed it up. They got it to within a 2-point game. So, but they ended up pulling out a win. That's a tough place to win, in Boston at the TD Garden. So,
Yep.
But I think the good news is I think maybe him and KP will stay healthy and mosey on into playoffs. And I imagine that they're going to have to be in this scenario this year. They have that I guess it's the 7, 8, 9, and 10 seed. They're going to have 10 seeds. So the 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all going to have to play in like the mini tournament before like the real playoffs start, kind of deal. So, and I think they're one game. I think it's one game, like win or go home, to get into the actual NBA playoffs. So
yeah. Well,
while that's not ideal, real quick, Gordon. While that's not ideal, because anything can happen in one game.
Yeah.
The Mavericks are not really concerned about trying to get to the 6. It doesn't seem like so.
Well, I think this is one of those teams that if they get into a 5 or 7 game tournament or a series rather, if they can get into series, they're dangerous, man, because we've watched them play teams lose one night, turn around the next night or a couple nights later and not just beat them, but absolutely embarrass some of these teams.
Yes, sir.
And it's I think earlier I used the phrase the most dominantly inconsistent team I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know that I've seen teams win by 20 and then lose by 15 or 20. Like the next night they go out. Like that's an insane thing. You don't see that very often.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to watch, I think is a good way to put it. They've definitely been an exciting team this year, you could say.
Yeah, I think the Mavs in my opinion, I think the Mavs this year are kind of taking on like that regular season approach, kind of like if you remember how LeBron did, where it's like I don't care if I'm the 3 seed or the 5 seed,
I
like
just got to get in.
I'm gonna make sure I don't get hurt in the regular season, and I'm not gonna play 40 something minutes a night. And I think
Well,
the
I can't
Mavs
really
are
say
kind
that
of
about
taking.
LeBron. I can't really say that about LeBron because I mean, LeBron has kind of notoriously played more than people thought he should. I mean, there's
Well,
been plenty of
true,
times where
but
people are like, LeBron should probably sit, and he's like, bro, people pay to see me. Like,
that may be true, but it's very known that he, even with the Lakers and with Cleveland, that he would take it a little easier on defense throughout the regular season. There's a clear cut difference in regular season LeBron and playoff LeBron.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
No, it's true.
he knows what it is. He's been around, so he's like, this is the regular season, and I don't care if I'm the 4 seed or. I mean, he usually wants to be home court when all the fans are there, but
Oh, yeah.
I think the Mavs might be taking that kind of approach right now. I think they know they're in, and they probably know that they're not gonna catch the 5 or 6 seed. And they're probably just kind of, we're gonna win games but we're also gonna take care of our guys, make sure we're healthy and not
Yeah.
fatigued going into the playoffs. So
Well, I think load management has become sort of a, uh, man, I think you're just getting this really interesting situation where load management is becoming more normal, and
absolutely, yeah.
and you know it's kind of like, I mean, load management happens in baseball. It's always happened in baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen a player outside of Cal Ripken Jr. start 162 games in a season. I
Yeah, it's
mean, it
just different. It's
happens.
different now. Yeah.
It happens, but people don't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
guys get hurt, or you tweak a hamstring, and 162 games is a long time. Obviously, basketball doesn't play 162 games, but as someone who grew up paying more attention to baseball than basketball, I was kind of surprised when basketball started load management. I was like, you guys haven't been doing this? Like, you
Yeah.
didn't think like, hey, let's rest for a little bit?
One thing that I would, one thing that I might go against a little bit with what they're doing is Luka is 21 or something. I think he's 21 years old.
Yeah, but
So
he's been playing professionally for how long now?
that is true. But
Like,
you
I
see
understand that
around the league that other
I
teams kind
understand
of let
he's
their young
young.
superstars play.
Well, yes, but a lot of those young superstars don't have the experience Luka has.
That's true. That's fair.
I mean, the only guy that I would say is even remotely close in terms of being young and having experience would be probably LaMelo Ball, because he's
Yeah.
played, he played in the Big Ball League, and he played over, was it in Russia? I think it was. But he played internationally as well. So there are
He
other
played in
people.
China, I think.
Maybe it was China, but I mean, Luka went professional at like 16, I think it was.
Yeah, and he was winning finals MVP or
That's
championship
what I'm
MVPs
saying.
over there.
So I mean, like, it's it is different in that, at 21, well, he's a 5-year vet at a professional level. Maybe, and you could argue, yeah, international is not the same as, the NBA,
I
but
don't know. They're pretty competitive in Europe,
it
though.
is definitely gotten a lot better. Yeah, I mean, it's not the high school varsity team that people thought it once was. So it's a significant improvement. And so I think it is worth load managing someone even at that age, because also, if if you're throwing all these minutes at these young guys, then you're just going to wear them out under your contract, you know?
Yeah. And, apparently the Mavericks have like software and really smart people involved in these, like,
I mean, it's Mark Cuban, bro. Of
well,
course,
right,
of
exactly.
course.
So Mark's putting this into play, and they basically have like software and data analyst type stuff that can almost um how do you say it? Like, they can predict injuries basically based on how many minutes you're playing, like how many turnovers you're having, like all this kind of stuff. They put all this data into it, and they can basically predict. I mean, obviously, freak injuries are
Right,
like
right, right, right.
freak for that
But like
reason.
but
But
just
soft
over,
tissue injuries, yeah, like so
right.
Achilles, knees, ankles, like they can almost predict these things. And so whenever they start getting red flags in that software, they're actually running this with like KP or Luca. They're just like, hey man, you need a break. The guys say, The data analytics say that you need a break, and so they set him down. So
I mean, if it works,
if
it
it works,
works.
yeah. If he's healthy in the
mean-
playoffs, is really all that matters, right?
Right. And I mean, that's where you really need those guys to be healthy. Those are the guys you're paying
Especially,
big money to. Those are the guys that if you win a championship in Dallas, those are the guys that are bringing it home.
yeah, and especially this year in particular, I think, says there's not so much a home court advantage really, besides just the convenience of being there. But
Correct.
as far as the fans, you're not gonna see much different. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
all right, so I guess some other stats real quick on that Mavs game. Jalen Brunson had 21 points, and he was 8 of 10 from the field.
It's a pretty big night.
Yeah, he had a good night. I watched the game. He played pretty good. He got into the paint a lot and made some nifty moves. And KP had 19 and 8 boards, so he's 19 and 8. Luka was 36 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, but he had those 8 turnovers. So
Pretty
that's kinda-
solid night though, overall. I mean, if you get a dub, not the end of the world.
Yeah, and if you watch at the end of the game, he was 7 of 11 from 3-point. So his 3-point
Yeah.
percentage just keeps going up. And if he's going to hang out around 40, it's going to be no question. If he hangs out around 40% 3-point shooting, he's the best player in the NBA. So
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly a guy that you watch him play, and he dazzles in a way
sure.
that not every player can do.
Luka
Even
Magic.
Yeah, I mean, what else we got? I'm just sitting here looking. I'm literally just sitting here. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bud. I've got CBS's opening day schedule for tomorrow, and I just keep looking at it, getting excited because I'm off
Okay, well,
tomorrow
hold on a
night.
second. I got a couple things to talk about on.
No, I know.
on some
I'm
NFL
there's
stuff. I want
there's
to
a
talk about
lot of
baseball
stuff.
though. But when we
There's
get
a
into
lot
baseball,
of
we're gonna talk for a little bit. So I was gonna see if you had seen um Kyle Pitts measurements in 40 time.
I have not seen Kyle Pitts' measurements. I have seen Justin Fields kind of throw down the gauntlet in in his pro day, if I'm honest with you.
He slung it around pretty good. He ran Fields ran a 4.44. So
Yep.
Okay, Kyle Pitts also ran a 4.44. And I'll have y'all know that Kyle Pitts is 6'6", 246 pounds. Another interesting measurement about him is he has a longer wingspan, than any wide receiver or tight end in the NFL in the last 20 years at 83 3/8 of an inch, breaking DK Metcalf's record. So basically, he's not really a human.
Here's the deal. I knew he was good, right? We knew he was good. We knew he was going to be a game changer. My question is this. Do you see, with that speed and
6'6",
6'6", do you see him
wingspan in 20
being
years.
I don't see him being a tight end in the NFL.
Oh, I absolutely do.
Now,
if you're thinking of prototype traditional online,
no, I understand. I understand that.
But you see what the Chiefs do with Kelsey. They split him out.
Yes.
They'll split him out and run him over the middle, and that's what that guy's going to do.
Yeah, but at 4'4", he can outrun a lot of these cornerbacks.
Right, but you don't want him outrunning cornerbacks that run 4.4. You want him outrunning linebackers that run 4.5, 4.6. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's true, but also at his height, you can. I mean, here's the deal: you're going to see him stretched out outside the numbers. It's going to happen because at 6'6",
packages.
at 6'6", 4'4", if I'm at the 25, hey, listen, on 3, you go into the end, you go to the corner of the end zone, and on that back pylon, the football's going to be waiting for you. That's where
I think you can see packages of that, but they're going to line this guy up on the middle, and they're going to say they're going to ask the defense. They're going to ask the defense to say, "What do you want to do? You're going to put a safety on him because he's 6'6", and they're going to say, "Okay, well, if you don't want to do that, you want to put a linebacker on him. Well, he runs 4.4. So what do you want to do?"
Yeah.
They're going to make them make a decision. He's a matchup nightmare.
No, he is a matchup nightmare. And I think that he has certainly, I'll say this. I I'm always sort of leery of game record tight ends because we have seen guys come out and do really, really well at tight end. And so there's always this sort of idea of who's the next one, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm always I feel like some people kind of try and stretch with some of these tight ends. I don't feel that way about Pitts.
I don't either. And
It
we've
seems like every
seen.
time I look at something about him or read a little bit more about him or watch, and and now it's pro day, it seems like he just continually shows up, performs well, and makes you go, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't care who you are. You're telling me you can't use a guy who's 6'6" with a massive wingspan and runs a 4.40 at
Yeah.
any position. I mean, even if you literally just said, "Hey, we're going to put you at receiver," which I agree, I don't think he would do. I mean, I kind of asked that question, but I think that they probably would put him at a tight end, kind of a Travis Kelce kind of deal.
Yeah, he's
But
gonna eat the middle up, but he will, like you said, be involved, especially in the red zone in packages where they're gonna move him around all over the place.
oh,
They
I haven't, and
It just behooves him to do so.
yeah, and guaranteed at some point he's going to be outside the numbers.
Yeah, and
I
another
guarantee.
thing is, I can promise you, this guy's gonna start. I mean, I don't know who his quarterback's gonna be, but this guy with the right quarterback is gonna start getting doubled quite quickly. And so,
Yeah,
if you want, they might have to start moving him out, and that way they can be like, well, you're going to run a safety over here with the corner because they can bracket
yeah,
him
and that's the other
inside.
deal is
So
that I was about to say that's the deal is like he creates matchups because even if you double him, if he's at a slot, which that would be, oh my god, I can't imagine him at a slot. Could you imagine a nickel corner trying to cover him?
yeah, they wouldn't do that. They would.
That's my point. That's
There's
what I'm
nothing you
saying.
can
Like,
do. I mean,
yeah,
maybe Levante David can cover this guy.
yeah,
Maybe.
that would be fun to
I
watch.
mean, maybe, but there's not a lot of people you can think of that are going to be able to cover that guy. So he's going to be a matchup nightmare. And look, PFF draft, Pro Football Focus draft Twitter account put out his measurables to Calvin Johnson, and
Okay.
they got him on here both 6'5". They have Pitts at 6'5", 5'8", 245. They had Calvin Johnson at 6'5", 239. So Pitts would be 6 pounds heavier than Calvin Johnson and about the same height, a little taller actually, half inch taller. And then at the wingspan, Pitts at 83 and 3/8, like we said, and Calvin Johnson was 82.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the 40, Pitts was 4.44 and Calvin Johnson ran a 4.35 at that size. But you can see pretty
Yeah,
comparable.
Calvin Johnson was just oh my gosh, he was just unreal.
He's a Megatron, but they're pretty comparable as far as that goes.
See, but
Um,
that's kind of why I'm asking is like, I mean, obviously Calvin Johnson was faster by, almost a full tenth. But I mean, because here's my concern. If I'm a team, here's my concern about putting him in that position. I look at what happened to Rob Gronkowski because, and obviously Gronk was used in kind of some weird ways. Not weird, but he was used quite often as a typical tight end, like a traditional line him up on the end of the line and go hit somebody in the mouth. Like he did that a lot. But I think that also contributed to his injuries that he sustained. He's got the elbow and he's had several big injuries over his career, that have taken away from who he was at one point. So I wonder if a team wouldn't say, hey, look, Pitts, we really like you. We really think you could play tight end in the NFL, especially if we move you all over the field. But we'd kind of like to keep you healthy, especially, just overall. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see who gets him and what they do with him. Because I do think you're right. Teams are going to have to look to double him, especially if he can pick up the offense that he goes to, and they can incorporate him rapidly.
interesting question is if you're the Dallas Cowboys and he's sitting there at 10, like say Surtain and Kyle Pitts are sitting there.
See,
Because I can promise
that's
you that
tough.
Kyle Pitts will be ranked higher on their board. And they did show us last year that they're willing to do that if a player they'll take best player available over
Best
need
player
because
available.
they didn't need another wide receiver, but CeeDee Lamb was sitting there and they took him, which I was surprised that
See,
they
but
did.
okay, so let me stop you right there real quick and ask this. Given the fact that the Dallas Cowboys have so many offensive weapons at this point, do you add another one knowing that in reality, because we do know that wide receivers want the football all the time. If you were a pass
Yes.
catcher, you want the football. That's just how that game works, right?
Yeah.
So do you think they're willing to play that potential chemistry?
Yeah. With this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this guy's a once in a generation top
I mean,
talent.
could you imagine him, Blake Jarwin, CeeDee Lamb,
Amari
and
Cooper, Michael Gallup.
Amari Cooper, like just those four men on the field at once, and Zeke in the backfield? Like
Yeah.
that's
It's a hard decision with Sertan sitting there. For sure. But
I think if you're the Bengals, you have to take a serious look at it because you really want to get Burrow some weapons, but you also need to protect Burrows. So
what about Atlanta? Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Kyle Pitts.
yeah, I mean, well, Atlanta's tough too. Here's the deal. I think the
Be kind of
49ers,
nasty. Pretty
the more that
nasty.
I look at it, I think the 49ers are going after
Fields.
I don't actually know
There's
because
rumors swirling that they're going after Mac Jones
there's a
there.
lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that are starting to lean towards Mac Jones. And
I just don't.
I
I
I
don't
don't
see it.
know. I don't know. But if they're
Look,
looking
one thing I'll say real quick about that: Kyle Shanahan has been to 2 Super Bowls and lost both of them, right? And
yes.
he lost it with statue quarterbacks, right? Matt
Yeah.
Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo. So does he go back to that well with Mac Jones? Because Mac Jones, I mean, I'm not saying he's a statue. He's a somewhat mobile, but I feel
But he's
like
not Justin Fields.
right. I feel like that's what they traded up for. Because I don't think they might not even needed to trade up that high to get Mac Jones. They could have.
I don't know. I don't know. And it's interesting because they did it early, so it makes you feel like they really kind of know they got some inside baseball on what Jacksonville and New York is going to do, and
I
they
think
feel
they'd go New
like
York for sure.
well, that's
Everyone knows what Jacksonville's doing, but I think
yes.
Robert Sala's probably helping them out a little bit. It's like, yeah, we're taking Fields or we're taking Wilson, but
Well, see, and that's the thing is like maybe they feel like Fields is going to be the second guy off the board. Maybe they feel like he's going to go higher than
maybe they traded up
Wilson.
for Zach Wilson. Then we just don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we don't. That's really the excitement of the NFL draft. We go through all this talk and discussion and
Yeah, and it's just
hoopla.
crazy on first round night. It's just
Yeah, you have
everyone's like, whoa,
no. Yeah,
what? Like,
you really have no idea what's going to happen. First night, the first round really to me is the only real excitement in the draft. I know that you can get some real good players deep in the draft.
second,
Um,
third, yeah.
yeah, in the second and third, even in the
Get Dak
fourth.
Prescott in the fourth
I
round,
was just about to say. I mean,
into the
Tom
fourth
Brady.
round,
When was Tom Brady drafted? Oh
sixth.
wait, you know what I'm saying? Like, so there are really good players in these drafts. A lot of it depends on how these guys develop, especially the later rounds. But the first round is most exciting because those are the most polished players. Those are the guys that are
Yeah,
most likely to make an immediate impact.
yeah.
They're the
Top
guys
10
that
for
are,
sure.
yeah, that's where you're gonna get your sexy picks. That's where you're gonna get all those kinds of things, all the things that you really want to see your team do.
Yeah, organizational changing draft picks.
Correct. Exactly. So, looking at this, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, okay, so the 49ers, you got to go get a quarterback. You don't draft up to 3. You don't slide up to 3, give away the farm and not get a quarterback. The
Yeah,
Bengals, the Falcons at 4, you've got to get a better offensive line. I mean, you got to protect Matt. I think they have enough offensive weapons. I could be wrong. I mean, that's the thing with Pitts is who has enough offensive weapons. I think if Pitts falls to 5, I do think you see them go after him. I think wherever here's the thing. If Pitts starts to fall, I don't think he makes it out of the top 10. And I'd be surprised if he fell to 10 to the Cowboys.
You think he makes it past Dallas if he's there?
No,
I don't think
I
so. I
think
think they take him.
I think at that point they go, look, we got to get him.
I
And
mean,
actually,
he's gonna be considered the second or third between second and fifth best player on the board. And if
and I
he's
was
sitting there at
just about
10,
to say, if he falls to 10, I don't think Dallas actually takes him. I think Dallas fields a phone call and says, why, yes, we will drop however many slots and we'll pick up however many draft picks. I don't necessarily think, and it depends on how many slots. There's a lot of variables going to that. But I think if Pitts falls, I think the phone's going to be ringing. I don't think Dallas is, I think they're going to take their time making that pick, if I'm honest with you. I think Jerry's going to evaluate everything and, you know, see what he can do. I think it's going to be a big deal.
I want to talk to you about this guy. This is a guy that is like shooting like a rocket up draft boards right now because of what he did at Kentucky's pro day. And
Yes,
he played he has good tape, but he played for Kentucky, so might not be as well known. But his name's Jamin Davis. He's a linebacker from Kentucky. Real quick, his measurables at his pro day: 6'3", 234, 4.37 40
as a linebacker.
as a linebacker, and a 42-inch vertical. My
So
goodness.
he's going to be one of those hybrid guys
And
that
also 11-foot broad jump.
he's
So
definitely going to be one of those guys that gets picked up. You know, say what you want about Kentucky, they're SEC school, so he's played tough competition at least. And man, I think there's going to be a lot of teams interested in that kind of defensive capability because he's a linebacker, but
yeah,
that size and speed,
he's a
dude,
new school linebacker.
could you imagine him at strong safety?
Yeah, he could play it probably.
That's what I'm saying. Like if he can learn the system, but I mean he could be like the next Cam Chancellor kind of guy at
Yeah,
that size and really because Cam Chancellor was really sort of a bonus linebacker who could
yeah,
cover.
for sure.
That's I mean
He's a box safety. Yeah, he played in
yeah,
the box.
he was more than capable of doing it.
He was there to punish
So
you.
yeah, they called him Bam Bam for a reason.
Yeah,
Uh
so this guy's
I
he
think
was like he was sitting around like maybe a second, third, fourth round pick. He was kind of unknown, but after this pro date, there's literally people talking about him going top 10. Like he could be picked at 10 by the Cowboys, they're
I
saying.
was just about to say, I mean, if he drops to the Cowboys, would you if it comes to him or Sertan, who are you looking to?
I think Sertan, because I think Sertan's my best corner, especially after Farley had surgery again. But so if I was sitting there with him, I would take Sertan. But it gets interesting if Pitts is there. It gets interesting too if Sertan's gone and Pitts is gone and their tackles are gone. So I'll be interested to see what the Cowboys want to do there. But
I'd really like to see the Cowboys pick up a impactful defensive player. So I'm
yeah,
talking linebacker, edge rusher, or
defensive
like
playmaker, man. We need
yeah,
playmakers.
defensive. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody on the corner that's going to be able to cover their first year and potentially turn into a lockdown. Maybe a ball hawking. I don't think there's a lot of ball hawks really that are looking that I think would end up in the top 10. But there's certainly some box safeties. There's some guys who could, or these hybrid linebackers who could really be powerful, and impactful. There's some solid edge rushers. Although it's a pretty deep edge rush class, it seems like to me. So I think they could probably hold off on that. But I would really like if they sit at 10, if they pick at 10, I would really like to see a playmaking, impactful defensive player picked up. That would be, to me, ideal. If the Cowboys are going to go get somebody, that's what I would like to see.
Apparently, Mac Jones and Zach Wilson had pretty amazing pro days as well. They're slinging it around, so off
I'm not
balance,
I'm not surprised. I mean, here's the deal.
on the
Mac
run
Jones,
throws.
I've said I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback than people give him credit for.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd
I
still
don't
have him
think you
fourth.
I don't think you're a quarterback for Nick Saban and not be a good quarterback.
Yeah, the little rumor going around is that like everyone at Alabama was kind of like, we love Tua and everything, but we were better with Mac Jones, and that team was like absolutely dominant, and they ran more of a pro style offense, flinging it around with Mac Jones than they did with Tua. So a lot of people are saying right now that Mac Jones is better than Tua because he was better at
Well,
Alabama.
seeing that's the thing. And either way, I mean, I think Tua has turned into a very serviceable NFL quarterback and could potentially be
Yeah, we
a
don't know yet. Yeah,
a
that's
really, and that's what potentially, admittedly, right? But he has become at the very least a very serviceable NFL quarterback. He's not losing you games.
yeah,
And there's certainly been some franchises that have put all their eggs on in one basket and had quarterbacks that lost them games.
yeah.
So
They could
I
get Kyle
think
Pitts, help Tua out at
I
6.
really wouldn't be surprised if at 6 they take Pitts. I think that would be a solid pick for them.
I mean, he's right there. He's in Gainesville, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just slide on over. He's ready to go.
I
He'll
know
be there.
teams will tell you that that has nothing to do with it, like where they went to school, but you see it all over the draft boards every year. It's just because they get a familiarity, and they also get visits with local school guys and stuff. So there
Well,
is
it's
a
not even
connection
that.
there. There is a
I mean, there is.
correlation.
Well, because I mean, it's a lot easier to get from Miami to Gainesville than from Miami to UCLA. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like factually speaking, like it is easier. You
Yeah,
can see because there is something. While film doesn't lie, there is something about seeing a person in real life.
yeah,
I mean, it's like if you've never been to a professional sporting event in your life and you've only watched it on TV, please go to a professional sporting event. Whatever your favorite one is, please go to it because I can tell you the things that these human beings do in real life is mind blowing.
yeah,
I mean, I've been watching basketball for years now. I'm still not a huge basketball guy. I don't claim to be, but man, in real life, it's a game changer. So, what do you
yeah.
say we pause there?
That's
We'll
why we love it. Pro
take a quick
sports.
break and we'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back and wrap this up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
We will be back on the flip side momentarily. Welcome back, guys. Here we are. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this show up. Talk about a little baseball because opening day is technically today.
It's upon
So
us.
it is opening day, and we have made it to the start of baseball. Regular baseball,
Yes.
162 games.
Here
Let's
we go.
go. Let's go. Go
For the
ahead, Gordon.
record, even though I'm a Rangers fan, I want to start out. There's two games that I'm really interested in today,
Talk to me.
specifically. Number one is Blue Jays at Yankees.
Oh,
Yankees are always a team that spends a lot of money, always a team that fields a solid team. It's pretty rare that you see a really bad Yankees team. It does happen, but it's pretty rare.
yeah.
But the Blue Jays, man, they are young, they are talented,
Loaded.
they are a big team to watch in the American League. The other is going to be the Dodgers at the Rockies. The Rockies I really think the National League West is one of the best divisions in baseball. And the Rockies obviously the Dodgers are the team that a lot of people think is going to win that, but the Diamondbacks and Rockies they're not pushovers. They usually have pretty good seasons. A lot of their losses usually come against the team that wins the division. I mean, Trevor Story is a guy who's known to start out seasons red hot. I mean, yeah, like this could be a really good game. It is, and it's not a super late game actually. It's a 3:10 Central game, I believe. Yeah, because it's 4:10
Okay.
Eastern, so it'd be 3:10 Central.
Gordon,
So,
you just want to see that loaded Dodgers lineup
oh
play.
my gosh, yes, I
You
do.
don't care about the Rockies. Quit lying to everybody.
No, man, I'm here for the Dodgers, bud. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that division
Uh,
looks good, man. The Padres, they look loaded. The Dodgers look loaded. Oh,
yeah,
did
that
you see?
division.
I saw this earlier that they're saying that they're predicting the Dodgers might break the Mariners all-time win record for a season.
I I did hear about this. I'm leery to say anybody's going to do that because I remember watching the Mariners do that. I couldn't believe the Mariners did it.
Yeah.
Um,
What
but
was that? The 2001 Mariners?
yeah, I think so, 2001.
Two,
But
yeah.
eh, it's tough to see. I can certainly tell you there's a
Is that
lot of
right?
talent on the Dodgers team.
Or is it 98 Mariners? I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead.
All right. There's a lot of talent on the Dodgers team. And if I'm honest, I picked those two games specifically because I do think the Rockies still have a fairly talented squad. The Diamondbacks at Padres is going to be an interesting game to watch because, I don't think the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are going to be I don't really think they're going to be the force that, stops the Padres or the Dodgers. But I do think that it'll be a good show. Padres starting at home. We'll see how they play. Dodgers starting on the road. We'll see how they play. Yeah, you'll get to see these guys. You'll get to see these teams come out, see how they do. I've said it 1,000 times. It's been said 1,000,000 times in baseball. You don't win pennants in April, but you can certainly lose them.
Indeed.
So I think it's going to be important that those teams get off to a big start. Rangers at Royals.
Gordon, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah,
Real
please
quick.
do.
On your first point there, you were talking about the Yankees Blue Jays, right?
Yes.
So I see a lot of people got the Yankees ranked like maybe the second or third best team in baseball, and they got the Blue Jays kind of between that 5 and 10 range.
Yep.
I would tend to disagree and think that maybe the Blue Jays are better than the Yankees. Who do you think is going to win that division?
That's why I really look forward to that game tomorrow, because I know that a lot of people think the Yankees are going to be better. Because, like I said, the Yankees are always a team. They always field a good team. They have a lot of talent. Obviously, they can bash the ball. They have deep pitching. They have, they've got Kluber. They've got Garrett Cole. They've got Aroldis Chapman, who actually I believe is starting on the DL. They've got some really talented pitching. Obviously, Gary Sanchez can smash the ball. You got DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres. Brett Gardner is still a guy that gets on base. Aaron Hicks is a guy that has come around and been, kind of a power guy. Like, he can mash the ball as well. Aaron Judge, obviously, still smashing the ball, and so is Giancarlo Stanton. So there is a lot of really deep talent on that team. A lot of people that can really smash the ball. A lot of guys that can really make you think twice about where you're throwing it and that kind of thing. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think one of the reasons that the Blue Jays are picked as low as they are is because they're young.
Probably pitching too, huh?
Yeah, they don't have a real strong pitching. And, again, I mean, and as a Rangers fan, you do see this. How often do you see the Rangers have like a pretty good pitching staff about guys that you were like, wait, who? Certainly, I mean,
they do have high-end Ryu.
Yeah, Ryu's talented. Matz is not, he's not an untalented guy. They do have
Tyler Chatwood and out of the pen.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, they do have some talent. I think a lot of it is going to come down to how do these guys play? I mean, you're looking at, you got Bichette, Biggio, Guerrero, like straight
they
up.
also
in
picked
90s.
up Marcus Semien.
Yeah.
Was that this year?
Yeah. Yes. They picked up Marcus Semien.
George Springer they picked up. Oh my goodness.
I mean, there's a lot of talent on this team.
Teoscar Hernandez.
That is going to, that's going to make them really good. And like I said, I believe, he actually is starting so Springer is starting the season on the injured list with a oblique strain.
Yeah, he's on the 10-day.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the reason that they're not picked as one of the top teams is specifically because they're young. I mean, they don't have a ton of experience overall. I mean, Springer's probably the most experienced player on the team.
Yeah, I still think they're hanging 8 runs a game on people.
Oh, well, no, I mean, but you look, Bichette, Biggio, and Guerrero, those guys only have, I think each of them has 1 year in the league, 1 full year in the league.
Yeah.
Marcus Marcus Semien has a couple years in the league. You're talking about guys that, they're talented and they're young. And so it's hard to really say, oh, these guys are going to be great. It's hard to really hang your hat on that. So I get that. That's why I picked it as one of the games that I really want to see.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested in that too.
Yeah, the only bad thing about opening day, especially if you are at home or anything like that, if you are someone who is off tomorrow because you took off work, go to a sports bar. 100%. Go to a sports bar tomorrow. Take all the money that you have, go to and do me a favor, as someone who loves Twin Peaks and loves the food there, go to a local sports bar, find one in your area, check them out. If you can go to the bar, go. Wear your mask, social distance, eat all the food and drink all the drinks, and then Uber home. So probably Uber there first. Make sure you wear your mask. Don't get kicked out of an Uber because you didn't wear a mask. And just take all these games in, because and here's why I say this. So Blue Jays, Yankees kicks off at 105. Cleveland at Detroit kicks off at 110. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that I think Cleveland Detroit is going to be a great game, but that's a noon game. So
Classic teams.
Those exactly. And I think those two teams may be fairly evenly matched. So, and if you're a Detroit Tigers fan, you definitely want to see them beat Cleveland. And if you're a Cleveland fan,
Cleveland's better than Detroit right now, but I might be wrong.
Well, and again, opening day. See, and here's the other thing that's fun about opening day. These are not the team that starts on opening day in terms of both the literal players and the way that they play. It's not going to be how the team finishes the year, right? Yeah. We all know this. So that's always something to keep in mind. So those games are literally starting 5 minutes apart, and I said not a huge deal, but then you go down and you go, okay, well, Minnesota Twins, Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah. I was actually going to say something about that one. I said, this game kind of piques my interest. I was going to see if you talk about that.
That game could be really good.
Yeah.
Then you got the Baltimore Orioles at Red Sox. Both of those games start at 2:10. Now, these games are all, I'm going to give you guys Eastern times just because it's a little bit easier. That's the way most of these programmers throw them out.
1:10 Central, yeah.
Yeah, so these games both start at 2:10 Eastern, 1:10 Central. I think both of those could be fun games. Keep in mind that's only an hour into the first set of games, so they're still going to be going on. So now you're looking at 4 TVs. Pittsburgh Pirates at Chicago Cubs kicks off 10 minutes later at 1:20 Central, 2:20 Eastern. Here's the deal. I don't think the Pirates are going to be very good this year.
No.
However,
not at all.
I really like watching Jock Peterson play. Like, that dude is dynamic. He's fun, and he can mash.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's not going to have a high batting average, but that dude can smash the ball. And I believe he's still leading the Cactus League in home runs. And if he can stay hot like that, yes, please. So there's those 3 games. And then you got an hour, and then the Braves at Phillies kicks off.
Man,
and then you got another
game. Braves, Phillies.
And then that could be a fun game. And then you go down and you look at 4:10, you have a whole bunch of games kick off.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at 4:10, you got the Diamondbacks at Padres, the Rangers at Royals, Dodgers at Rockies, Cardinals at Reds, Rays at Marlins. All those they all literally start at the same time. Unfortunately, I will be in class shortly after those start, so I'm going to miss a significant chunk of all those games.
Cardinals Reds is a little interesting. Get Arenado debuting with the Cardinals. That's
exactly. Cool. Yeah. And here's the other deal.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna talk about this, but Mets Nats at 6:09 Central.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that in a second.
My bad.
Here's the deal.
Steal your thunder. My bad.
No, you're good. Opening day is always fun because you got player moves, and it's a new day. It's a new chance for a team. I mean, who knows? The Pittsburgh Pirates may win 30 games next year, but they may beat the Chicago Cubs on opening day, and the Cubs may go on to win the pennant. I mean, that's the fun of opening day, is that the teams aren't quite settled. Nobody's quite 100% ready. But man, there's live baseball. There's the crack of the bat. There's Oh, all of
Beer and
it.
hot dogs.
Cold beer and hot dogs.
Cold beer, baby.
I mean, you're ready for it, right? So,
Yeah, I've never been more willing to pay $10 for a cold beer in my life than sitting at a Rangers game.
oh man, I can tell you, I've been in that ballpark. I got to go on a tour before I moved up here, and oh, oh,
You went to the
goodness
barn?
gracious! I went, I saw, I fell in love. I was real iffy. Admittedly, I feel like I grew up in the ballpark. I think a lot of people my age feel like they did that. I did go to
Yeah.
some games in the old Ranger Stadium, but the ballpark
Jeez,
was,
boy.
yeah, I was very, very young. I only remember a couple of them. But I mean, a lot of games at the ballpark, a lot of birthdays at the ballpark. Oh man,
How
just
was it sitting in the metal bleachers in the old Arlington Stadium in the middle of July?
oh man, we only went an evening, and I mean, but that was back. I mean, we're talking the early '90s, so like I was really young.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter, man. I mean, I was watching baseball.
You
It
know,
didn't.
is there something that we're gonna miss about? I mean, it sounds silly, but being an open air stadium and being one of the hotter places in the country in summer, it's kind of like you could like maybe make a parallel to like Green Bay in the freezing cold. It's like our thing is like you got to come here and pitch in the heat.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I get
know?
that, but like, so I used to be okay. Spoiler alert, I was not a fan of the idea of an enclosed stadium initially.
Right.
I was very much against it. And then I went on my birthday, which is, by the way, mid-September, right? My birthday is in the middle of September. My dad and I went to a baseball game. And at the old ballpark, you had to sit on the first base side if you went to a day game. Otherwise, you were just,
That's true.
you were dead.
Toasted.
And yeah, I mean, like, so my dad and I both are prodigious beer drinkers. We both
yes.
enjoy cold beer.
I like that
And
cold beer.
it was so hot that day that between the two of us, we drank 4 beers total. Like I had 2 and he had 2. And it was unbelievably hot. The sun, we were sitting in the Lexus Club, which is a little bit higher than normal.
Right.
But the sun was taking forever to get down, and it was so hot the whole time. And I thought, this is absurd. Like, I'm
was.
not enjoying this game as
It was.
much. I'm not enjoying this game as much as I would like to. And here's the other thing. This is where this was the first game I'd ever been to with just my dad.
Yeah.
Like, as we'd always gone as a family. And this was the first time that it had been just me and my dad. And we got there early. We did all the ballpark things, right? You walked around for a little bit. We got to our seats early. We had a beer. We had a hot dog. We were talking,
Talk to
watching
me.
all the things the good nostalgic things that you want to do at a ballpark. We did. Yeah. And had a great time. We acknowledged it was the first time we'd ever been to a game together, just the two of us. And then by the end of the game, it was so unbelievably hot that it definitely tainted that time. And at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, build me a stadium with a roof, please.
Yeah.
Like, and
the great thing is they can open this up. So
they can. And so that was my thing, was like, look, we don't get a ton of cool summer nights in DFW. Here in Lubbock, we definitely do, but not a ton of cool summer nights in DFW. Right. So, but when you get those nights, when it gets down into the 70s, or even the low 80s, and it's like heavenly because it's been 105 outside all day.
Yeah.
You can open the stadium and enjoy that nice summer night. But on those Sunday afternoon games, when it's 2:00 and it's 103 degrees outside.
Yeah, the hell with that.
Yeah, you can, and you don't have to sit in a certain spot because they have air conditioning, and you can enjoy the game from wherever. And so that's really where I'm kind of looking for, is there's something to be said for being able to enjoy the game. We don't have the weather of Southern California.
Yeah,
we don't.
Unfortunately.
We don't. Man, I wish we did. I think the whole country wishes they had the.
We have some decent weather. It's just summer can really kick our ass. Apparently, winter can kick our ass too.
Yeah, well, oh god. Yeah. So, I'm excited about it, and
I do think there's something to be said also about, there was always this caveat kind of deal around the Rangers and how they would tend to falter after the All-Star break, and I think that had to have something to do with playing in the heat so much.
It did, and it also
So
made it difficult for the Rangers to get pitchers, especially.
yeah, no one wants to pitch in that shit.
Nobody wants to pitch in that, and understandably, right? Like, we always talk about the Texas summer heat and all that kind of stuff. Look, I've lived in Texas my entire life. I've lived in different parts of Texas, but I've lived in Texas my entire life, and I can tell you, it's hot. I mean, it is hot.
I'd heard that like Cliff Lee probably would still be here or would have been here would have re-signed
Longer,
here,
right?
if we would have had an indoor stadium. He didn't want to pitch in the heat. That's why he went to Philly.
I did read that.
Yeah,
I read that
he didn't like it one
places.
bit because he left. Remember, we got him from Seattle, so
yeah,
he gets cool weather up there. He comes out here, and then it's just scorching him.
Sweltering hot, and I don't blame him, man. I mean, when people say you get used to the heat in Texas, listen, I've lived here my whole life. I know people that have lived here their whole life, and every summer comes along and people complain about it. They're like, God, it is so hot.
Yeah,
it happens. I mean, it's ridiculously hot. So the last games of the day are Mets at Nationals.
Yeah, I like that.
That one's gonna be fun.
You can see Lindor.
Yep, big money Lindor
and Juan Soto, and
yep, that should be a good one. White Sox at Angels, I think will be interesting. The Angels actually look pretty good.
Hey, that Mets Nats game, that's DeGrom versus Scherzer.
So. I mean, I kind of figured, and yes, give me all the pitching.
Yeah, so we get Rendon, we get Soto.
Listen, if that game, oh my gosh, give me just 2 seconds of like pure bliss here. If that game goes, if both those guys go 7 full, and that game goes to the 8th tied at 0, and both those guys walk away with, we'll say 10 to 13 strikeouts each. Oh my gosh, yes.
You're disgusting. You know that?
Me up. Sign me up.
You're gross.
This is the difference between someone like me and someone. This is the reason that I
want bat flips.
No, here's the deal. I want bat flips after those two dominated, and then you end up with a game that goes like 4-3, but all those runs were scored in the last 2 innings after the starting pitchers left.
Yeah, not me. I like a good 8-6 type baseball game.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I realized long ago that if the game is 0-0 after 3 innings, you're usually watching a pitching duel. It's pretty rare that you're just watching teams just that unlucky. I mean, usually you're getting enough hits in that something's falling. You're hitting a CNI single somewhere. So usually if that's not happening, pitchers are dealing,
Mets also to be noted about the Mets is, I don't know if y'all saw, but Lindor signed his extension with the Mets for $340 million. So that man just became generationally wealthy, and congrats to him.
Well, he definitely worked for it, and I think the Mets Nationals is going to be a good game. I really do. Pitching is going to be good. I think the defense is going to be solid.
Interesting.
I read something that the over under for the Mets win total this year is 90.5. I don't know if I believe that because Mets are going to Met, but
I'll take the under.
But I would not be surprised to see DeGrom win another Cy Young. So I'll say that. White Sox Angels, like I said, Angels actually look not bad this year. At least in spring training. And again, it's spring training, right? Like it's hard to really go, oh yeah, these guys are going to be great, I don't know how good, it's hard to really know how good a team like the White Sox are going to be, but they do have some talent. I mean, they got Jose Abreu, they've got Yasmani Grandal, they have Dallas Keuchel. So I mean, they have Lance Lynn. We watched him, do well in Texas. So they have some talent in this on this team for sure. So I'm interested to see how that plays out for them. Obviously, you're gonna have some real talent on the Angels. The Angels have been a talented team. I
never really put it together, huh? Didn't they hire La Russa to manage them?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
It's the
Man, I
reuniting of
forgot about that.
LaRussa and Pujols.
Golly, I forgot about that.
Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure they hired Tony
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
La
did.
Russa.
So yeah, it should be, a lot of talent on this team. Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. He's with the. It says he's with the Chicago White Sox. Did Pujols
no,
go to the White Sox? Because I heard that.
no, Pujols is still on the. Listen, nobody wants Pujols.
Hold on, I'm tripping
People
right
aren't
now.
even sure how old Pujols is, bro. Just so you know, there's still questions about how old he actually
Yeah, there's
is.
a birth certificate issue going on back there. I don't know.
It's been going on for a
Let me
while.
see. Because I heard on the radio today that they're gonna have LaRussa and Pujols back together for the first time since they were in St. Louis.
No, wait, that actually makes sense because if LaRusse is coaching the White Sox and Pujols is
Oh,
playing for
they're
the
playing.
Angels,
Yeah, there you go.
so it'll be the first time they've seen each other like on the same field like
There
that.
you go. Please excuse my baseball ignorance. Carry on.
It took me a minute to follow what you were saying, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get what we're doing here. But I think it's going to be a game to watch. As a Rangers fan, Astros and A's is a game to watch. The Astros still have a lot of talent. Their window to win is definitely closing because I do think that a lot of these players are going to abandon ship as their contracts come up. I think that the black mark that was put upon the franchise with the cheating scandal and the way that it was pinned on these players, rightfully so, um, is definitely going to provide some impetus for these guys to kind of move on. In the A's, man, you just never know what the A's are gonna do. Like you just really if you look through their roster, you're like, I don't. I'll tell you what, guys. If you have never looked at the roster, just scroll through, and there's a pretty good chance that if they don't look familiar, they will soon because they'll
Yeah.
probably get traded. If they turn out good, they'll get traded.
Yeah.
But I will tell you guys, there's a couple people that may look familiar to the Rangers on the team this year. Elvis Andrews and Mitch Moreland apparently is on the.
Mitch Moreland's on the A's now.
Apparently he got picked up by the A's. So
That's a shame to see them two guys in that uniform. I have to say.
you know what? I'm glad to see those guys playing though. I think it was time for the Rangers to move on from Elvis, and I think that
Elvis will forever be in my heart. Number one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But again, sometimes it's sometimes you need a little change of scenery. Sometimes you got to go in a different direction.
For sure.
So I do think that's going to be a good, I think that'll be something to watch. Because I never know what the Oakland A's are going to do. Like I really never know how good they're going to be. And if I'm totally honest, I don't think they know how good they're going to be. I think
I
they
don't think
always,
they do either, honestly.
I think they do a really good job of trying to provide a really talented team that they can afford and just doing their dead level best with it. So
who's winning the AL West, Gordon? Not the Rangers.
if you put me on the spot, I would say probably the Angels.
Really?
Yeah.
Been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while. I think if they play to their potential, they win.
I would like personally to see Mike Trout in some damn playoffs for once in a while.
Yeah. Well, that admittedly, that's part of my thought process there, but I think it's the Angels. And if the Angels do not do well, I think it's going to immediately go to the A's. I think Houston will be third.
Really?
Houston has some question marks.
Still
they lost.
Still got Correa.
They do. And they still have talent, right? And I want to make that clear. Like they do still have talent. They even have talent in the arms. They still have McCullers. They still have Zach Greinke. They've still got Pedro Baez on their team. As far as the pitcher goes, so they do have talent there. They still got, Altuve, Bregman, Correa, Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel's still a talented guy. But they lost.
Wait, who was that? Who was that young kid they had though? The Cuban guy. The guy that defected from Cuba. I think his name was Jordan something. He was a beast, man. He was young, real young. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Alvarez?
Was it Alvarez? Yeah. Jordan
Yeah,
Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez. Yeah,
Dude's a
yeah.
beast.
They still got him. They still got Michael Brantley. So they do still have a lot of talent, but are they going to be able to put it together? Are they going to be able to play that well? There's a lot of questions there for me. And I think that, it's going to be hard to kind of pull all that together. Greinke is not the guy that he was, several years ago. Still a very incredibly talented pitcher. And it's been fun to watch him and a guy like, just some of these, well, I mean, not just some of these guys, a lot of these guys, just as they get older, how they adjust their approach to pitching. Zach Greinke used to have some gas. Like he used to pump it in there. And so when you start to lose that, it certainly changes your approach because now you have to be more Greg Maddux-esque. You have to really work the corners. You have to really pay attention to what you're doing. So there's my rundown. The last game of the night, the Giants at Seattle. Seattle's a team that I think is going to be, I don't really know. I really never know with Seattle because I've seen them have some talented teams and do nothing. And I've seen them have some teams and be like, who are these guys? And they play pretty well. So I don't ever know. I've given up trying to understand them. I'm just, hey, you do you, and I'm going to watch because of course I'm going to watch, right? But the Giants, I don't think that they're going to be really a deciding factor in the
West.
In the National League West. But they do have some talent.
I mean, I don't see him beating the Dodgers or the Padres, but you never
exactly. know. Well, I mean, I think it would require a kind of a falling apart by some of these other teams
and injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, to me there would have to be a lot of injuries. There's got to be a lot of things would have to really fall into place for them, for the Giants that is. But I think they do have a team that with some talent. I think you could say that about a lot of teams in MLB though. So I think that's kind of where my head's at. Is look. Also keep in mind that I will be the first to tell you. I could go through. I could go through and give you my hard answer for every team and who I think is going to win the division and who I think. I mean, I could give you answers to all that. It is pure conjecture at this point. 100%. I do not believe, especially in baseball.
Knows.
I do not believe in preseason stuff really in baseball because, man, it's such a long season. It's such a long. Who's going to get injured? Who's going to get better throughout the season? Who's going to get tired throughout the season and not be able to completely recover?
Yeah.
All these things, whose schedule is going to fall in the right way, who's going to start out hot and then be able to ride that wave for a while. All these things come out. So
no one really knows, man. We have an idea of who the best teams, the better teams are going to be and who the worst teams are going to be.
That's true.
That's about it.
But I feel like in football, especially, and I think it's because you have such a smaller sample size, so you have 16 games a season.
17
now 17. Now. I was going to say now 17. But I think because of that, I follow I'm able to kind of look at football and go, okay, I think this team is going to be good. I feel like I'm less surprised by football teams than by baseball teams. Yeah. I mean, if the Tigers may turn out to be world beaters this year, and I would be like, did not see that coming.
No way. Yeah.
Well, that's the deal. It's like right now it's easy to say no way, but here in a few hours, it is 2:28. So be 12:28, about 10 hours, a little under 10 hours, 9 hours and change. Now we'll find out.
Getting close, baby.
We'll find out. So,
hey, do you remember that umpire, Angel Hernandez, Major League Baseball umpire?
Yes, I remember Angel Hernandez.
I was reading this article on here. Apparently, did you know that he filed a lawsuit against Major League Baseball alleging racial discrimination?
I remember reading something about that. And I remember when it first was filed, because he filed it how many years ago now? It's been a few years ago now.
Maybe so, but what made this important is this article is that he apparently has lost like the discrimination lawsuit against MLB. So I
If
was just gonna
if
read through
I
this real quick. And,
if I remember correctly, let me see if I can find when he filed it. Because he sued in 2017.
okay.
Okay, so he did this in 2017, and I remember reading about that time that a lot of people were basically saying, "Hey, it's not that they're racially discriminating;
Yeah.
it's that they think you're terrible."
Yeah.
He was pretty well known.
For his
Uh,
temper. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he was the kind of
And
guy.
inconsistent strike zone and stuff. But
Correct.
let me read some of this to you.
Okay.
So it says the Cuban-born Angel Hernandez, he sued in 2017. Well, there it
Mm-hmm.
is. And U.S. District Court in Cincinnati with the case later moved to New York. He was hired as a big league umpire in 1993. He alleged he was discriminated against because he had not been assigned to the World Series since 2005 and had been passed over for crew chief. Hernandez was made an interim crew chief in July at the start of the pandemic delayed shortened season after a dozen ups decided to sit out. So the court concludes that no reasonable juror could find that MLB's stated explanation is a pretext for a discriminatory motive, right? So U.S. District Judge Paul Oetken wrote Wednesday in granting MLB's motion for a summary judgment. Okay, so down here a little bit, he says that Hernandez claimed that Chief Baseball Officer Joe Torre had animus toward him dating all the way back to 2001, and that it was Torre that had bypassed Hernandez for crew chief and World Series assignments. And Hernandez cited generally positive field evaluation forms that he had received, contrary to him being passed over and stuff. And it says,
So
um,
go ahead.
I'll
I
just
got
I'll just
I
skip
got
over some of this stuff right here, but here at the end it says that Torre made legitimate denials for Hernandez, and Torre stated that the explicit reason MLB offers is that, according to Joe Torre, Hernandez has not demonstrated the leadership ability and situation management skills in critical high pressure roles on a consistent basis. It is presented in clear and specific terms.
so
There you
just
go.
this is kind of where my mind went, because I remember in 2017 when it was first announced that he did this. There was there was a lot of um uh, he was ranked one of the worst umpires repeatedly.
Correct.
Like in 1999, he was ranked 31st out of 36 umpires in the Major League Baseball Players Association survey. In 2006 and 2011, he was listed as the third worst umpire in Sports Illustrated player polls.
Yeah.
A 2010 ESPN survey showed that 22% of Major League ball players asked identified Hernandez as the worst umpire in the major leagues. 22% said specifically, they were like, "Hey, who's the worst umpire?" And they were like, "Hernandez."
Hernandez.
During the 2016, 17, and 18 seasons, his calls at first base were overturned in 14 out of 18 video reviews for a 78% turnover rate,
Ooh.
exceeding the 60% overturn rate for all first base calls by all umpires during that period. So he was 18% worse than everybody else combined.
That's pretty bad.
So, I mean, even during later, there were studies done, and they were like, look, he's just not accurate behind the plate. He's known by a lot of players to be the worst umpire in baseball. There's just oh my gosh, it's just, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but oh my goodness gracious,
Here's a few things I've seen in a New York Post article. This is from June 8th of 2020, but it says notorious umpire Angel Hernandez in more trouble with MLB. And it says the veteran umpire has been labeled as bad as it gets, or as bad as there is, by Pedro Martinez. Following, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a disastrous 2018 Yankees Red Sox playoff game. And allegedly eavesdropped on an MLB investigative call last July, which focused on a 14-minute delay during a game between the Sox and Rays due to confusion over league rules. Uh, Joe Torre, then the game's chief baseball officer, claims Hernandez, the acting crew chief for the game, did not hang up on the phone when his interview ended and continued listening to the questioning of umpire Ed Hickox. And 1 month later, MLB interviewed Hernandez again to discuss the alleged eavesdropping following the incidents, and Torre declared Hernandez would be removed from the position of acting crew chief.
See,
So,
to me, I mean, look, I get that. I get that he could certainly feel like he did a good job, but man, yeah, I don't know any. I would be shocked if we literally sat down with every Major League Baseball player and said, "Hey, who's the best umpire?" I would probably die right there of a heart attack if any one of them said
yeah.
Angel Hernandez. Like, I would probably just die. I would be like, "You've got to be kidding! This is a joke, right?"
Hey,
Like,
here's another strange thing I found on here, Gordon. The MLB listed several other transgressions committed by Hernandez, including asking pitcher Homer Bailey for 11 autographed baseballs after a no hitter. That he had 3 incorrect calls overturned on by replay. And then it says, he had 3 incorrect calls overturned by replay in the first 4 innings of Game 3 of the 2018 ALDS between the Yankees and Red Sox. So he had 3 calls overturned by replay in the first 4 innings of an ALDS game, and then angrily throwing his headset during a different game when a call was overturned by replay. So, like, they looked at a replay and they said, "You were wrong," and he chunked his headset. So Joe Torre said also then that threats to the integrity of the game will not be tolerated. So I
I
just
don't.
figured I'd let y'all in on that little bit of information. I thought that was interesting.
I mean, it is interesting, right? Because it certainly, I think, especially in this time, it's important that we call out racial discrimination and things like that. I think that this is one of those situations where if you've watched baseball at all,
Yeah.
it's pretty fair to say that he was not a good umpire, like consistently considered a bad umpire. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good spot to end on. Angel
I
Hernandez
agree.
loses,
Yeah.
baseball starts back.
Agreed, man.
Time to pull out. About
Agreed.
time. Hey, listen, it's about time to pull out the old 25-piece lawn set.
Is it now?
Yeah, your chair and 24 packs of cold beers.
Yes, sir. What about the cooler? That counts.
Nah, you
All
drink them
right,
fast
so
enough, they won't get warm.
guys, we're gonna put out, guys and girls, we're gonna be putting out a few little short videos with opening day, doing some recap on that, and then we're also gonna get together and we're gonna talk about the schedule going to 17 games and who your team's gonna play, and do I'm gonna put some mock drafts out. So I'm sure Gordon's gonna be doing a lot of stuff on baseball. That's your baseball guy. I'm your football guy. So um
I'm so excited baseball's back. So
Gordon,
excited.
yeah, Gordon is squiggling in his pants over there, like a
Tell
little
you
kid,
what, man.
that's got to go pee. He's like,
Oh man, I can't even I can't even tell you how excited I am right now. Like, I'm just so pumped because it's just like we're here, we made it here. It's I mean, geez, man, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not that sorry, but I am sorry. It's
I
gonna be
don't.
good. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, you guys check in with us, and we'll keep you up to date on NFL draft stuff, man. And we're gonna do some mock drafts, like I said. So if you want your team, hit us in the comments, and I'll do a mock draft on you guys. And me and Gordon are gonna get together as the draft gets closer. We're gonna do like a whole first round mock for
Oh yeah,
every
that'll be
team,
fun.
and it'll be
Yeah,
pretty fun. And we'll drink lots of cold beer, and we'll talk about
yeah, naturally.
which of these prospects can make these teams better and where we think they're gonna go. So appreciate
Yeah,
your time, guys. And we'll see you down the road. Can I say that, Gordon? Oh,
yeah. I think you can
is it
now.
too soon?
Nah, well, I
See
don't
you down
know.
the road.
I think you can steal it and nobody's gonna say anything.
Yeah, people probably don't know what we're talking about, but
Yeah,
we're
let's leave it that way.
yeah. All right. See you guys later.
Adios, guys.
We out.